Hey folks, me and cousin T-Taw, shout out to cousin T-Taw, the alpha wingman, the self-proclaimed alpha wingman. He knows his shit though. We were talking about K. Michelle, and he has a pretty good grip on who she really is. And I will put the link in the description as you go to his video because he has like I said, a pretty good evaluation of K. Michelle. Something that I've thought about her, since I actually started investigating who she was and her background, all that kind of stuff. And if you look at her pictures, earlier in her pictures and stuff that she says, she gives away a lot about her life just by running her mouth. Women sometimes talk too much. And women like K. Michelle do talk too much. They actually reveal a lot more than they think they do. He was saying that, and accurately, that K. Michelle actually has a pedigree of a 92. Mother and father educators, father's PhD that teaches in the university. She went to university, and I think cousin Tito said she actually was in law school for a little bit. So she is not a ghetto chick. She's a suburban, very well educated woman. The thing that she suffers from, in my opinion, is the ugly girl syndrome, the ugly duckling syndrome. K. Michelle is actually a 5. And through the wonders of modern surgery and makeup, she pushed herself up 2 spots to be around a 7.5. Now, as a 92, she would be okay. She'd be a decent 92. If she followed her track, got her law degree, she'd be a decent 92. Maybe even become a professor. She'd be a decent 92. But the track that she's followed, that makes her a mediocre 92. She's a singer. She goes out there, makes her money. That's all well and good. She's got her education. That's all well and good. But in the entertainment world, what brings her down is, like cousin Tita says, she's a 92 acting like an 87 that's marketing herself to 85s. She's pretending to be a ratchet chick that's an 87 who's actually a 92. And then when she gets defensive, she wants to fall back on being that college educated corporate type chick. When she brags about her corporate sponsor, which is Jack Daniels, that who she markets down to the 85s or the ratchets like she does in Love and Hip Hop. But the thing that cousin Tita was talking about that he didn't mention, I'm sure he didn't miss it, I'm sure it didn't go over his head, but he was actually talking about what 92s and even 100 octanes, 89 on up, actually talk about, which is finding a man with a mission, which is something that I mentioned in one of my very first videos, going all the way back to my Black Gnostic Speaks channel, is that being a man is to have a mission and a purpose. Mission and purpose first comes before anything. And a man that doesn't have a mission or a purpose, or doesn't know what his mission and purpose is basically a wanderer, and you're going to bump into wrong women. So even before you acquire a woman, guess what? You have to have a mission and a purpose, and then the woman will actually fit whatever that mission and purpose is. So there he's correct, and that's what women actually do look for. They actually look for a man that has a mission and a purpose that they can get with, that they can follow, or that they can coincide with. But the thing I wanted to mention that he didn't is that when we talk about octanes, and octanes is really just class levels. Michelle is a 92, and most 92s want to be, most of them want to be with Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe are either high level 92s, and Michelle, K. Michelle's case, she actually wants to be with the ballers with the 100 octane. And if you look at her dating profile, rather than the last guy that she's currently with, her dating profile are basically all 100 octane guys, ballers, entertainers, high level people in the entertainment world, athletes. Doesn't matter the color. Even a couple of guys that were white, they were all high profile guys, ballers. The only problem is that even though she dated them briefly, the reason that she couldn't hold them is because K. Michelle doesn't qualify for a 100 octane level. K. Michelle is a 5. It's very difficult for a 5 to be 100 octane. I'm not saying it's impossible. Anything anybody can look up, a blind squirrel can find a nut. But it's very difficult for a 100 octane guy to be with a chick that's 5, even though she's 92. 92s are qualified. 92s don't have an appearance cap. Let's put it that way. A 92 can be a 1 or a 92 could be a 10. That doesn't have anything to do with it. Looks don't have anything to do with a social class. Except when you get to the upper 5%. The upper 5% where the masters of the universe and the upper 1% where the ballers lie, looks are extremely important and extremely detailed, and they fall into a certain category. Now there may be some variance here or there about what kind of woman can be 100 octane, but it gets very, very narrow. And to be with a baller, the ballers that K. Michelle wanted to be with, you got to be at least an 8. I mean, at least an 8. I mean a natural 8. I'm not talking about a, how can I say, an upgradable. Had to be a natural 8 for the baller kind of guys. And you see a lot of entertainers, female entertainers, that are 7 and below, that have a difficult time jumping up to the baller status. Just because you can be upgradable, even the upgradable 7s, 6s and 7s have a difficult time in the 100 octane category. So K. Michelle is actually bitter. Bitter. The reason she says men are not good people, it doesn't mean that all men are not good people. And she uses the excuses about people on tour the women that she talks to, that talk about their trials and tribulations. What she's hiding is her own disappointment. She thought that because she was famous in her own way, that she was a singer, she was an entertainer, that she could jump up to that 100 octane level and date with guys that are in her surroundings, because those are her peers as far as men are concerned that she's surrounded with at the baller level. But the thing is, she doesn't qualify in looks. If K. Michelle was a natural 8, she'd have no problem. You wouldn't even hear from her. She'd marry a dude, and she'd go through it, maybe in a series of dudes, one husband to another, because she would qualify for 100 octane. Same thing with Fantasia. Fantasia, even though she's around those guys and she's a peer of these particular men, Fantasia doesn't qualify, because Fantasia is also a 5, and she doesn't qualify for the 100 octane level. And Fantasia was bitter for a minute, because the only guys that she could get were working class guys, 87, maybe a 92. She could sneak in. But never the upper crust guys. They could date them, but they could never hold them. The only thing is that Fantasia smartened up. Actually, K. Michelle actually smartened up. That's how come she has that guy that she's known for a long time. That guy that's possibly a 92, maybe even a little less, because water seeks his own level. And what K. Michelle's having a problem with is that K. Michelle is at that level. Idris Elba didn't keep her because she didn't qualify for Idris Elba. Bow Wow and all those other people didn't keep her because she didn't qualify. Why would Bow Wow be dating somebody in the look scales of Sierra and then marry a K. Michelle? It doesn't make sense. Why would Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson, who has 100 octane chicks at his feet as far as looks and beauty, settle for a 5 like K. Michelle? Even though she has fame, she's got money, she's got access. K. Michelle has 2 choices. She uses her money like Oprah to buy a guy. I mean, she's got to make more money. She buy her 100 octane guy, her baller guy, or she's got to find a guy at her own level, which is what she did. Which she had to settle for a guy that was at her level of looks. Is what it is. No sense in being bitter. You might as well go ahead and submit to the man that you're with, because that is the best that you can do. The father of your children, he was a regular old, 92 octane, but even at that, you're a 5. He's above your station, which is something that she doesn't want to admit, which is why she's having such a hard time with Ben. Accepting your place where you are. and making the best out of it, which is contentment, which is something I was talking about when I was talking about about the red pill and having options. At the end of the day, man, there's no sense in being miserable about something that's out of your grasp. Even if it's out of your grasp, even if you may attain it one day or get it one day, man, ain't no sense in being miserable if you don't have it. Same thing with the women. With K. Michelle, just because you see this stuff in the media, this stuff that's going on around you, and at K. Michelle, these guys that live in a certain life, the lifestyle that you live, okay? If you're not part of it, you're not part of their relationship or their harem of women, and you could just be their friend. That's where you are. Be content. Phyllis Hyman, who was a singer that I dearly loved, faced the same thing. And Phyllis Hyman, I thought was a natural 7. Pretty woman, just happened to be 6'3", and 6'3" is a little out of the range for a 10. Normally, women that are 10s or 8, 9s or 10s normally fall below the 6 foot level. And she dearly wanted to date Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan found a woman that was 5'8", and she questioned why would a 6'6" man get a 5'8" woman instead of getting a woman like her that's 6'3". And she chased these high octane guys most of her life until the point she committed suicide because she could not find contentment, not happiness, contentment in the lifestyle that she led, and find a man that suited her to actually enhance her contentment. At the end of the day, same thing I said earlier, your legacy is given to you by your Creator. There's 1,000,000,001 chance that you will ever draw breath, and you defied those odds, and you're here, and you draw breath, and you live, and the 1,000,000,001 chance that you would even thrive on this planet, and you do. You waste time, and you waste effort, and you waste days thinking about what you don't have instead of what you do, and the possibility to get what you want the next day. Being content, being happy not only with the day but in the moment. Anyway, I was just chiming in on Cousin T-Taw, and a flow of consciousness overwhelmed me. So I decided to put this out. You guys say I don't do this enough. So I decided to put this out as, I don't know, just a random ramble. Anyway, I got to run errands, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.